Yeah, so basically, I was still working for Stumptown at the time. I was able to come back. They had a roastery in LA, and I was able to come back home. So we had really wanted to come back home and be in California, because New York is a grind. It's like a total hustle, and we were over it. So we decided to come back, and at that time there was this kind of newer competition for girls called Exposure. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I started, Instagram started to become a thing, and I could see, it was like the magazines were coming back, but like online. And I was like, this is so amazing. And this like drive really came back to want to compete. And I had started to compete at Riverside Skate Park in New York. I actually did my first like real competition before. I was so nervous. I had never done a competition.
I was gonna ask, like,
outside.
so how was that going back, to competing, especially with this whole new narrative of like, I'm the only one, or there's room for a little bit more, like, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, it was like weird. It was weird. It was life-changing. It was weird. It was a struggle. It was very lonely at times, but it was also because I felt like, having been skating for so long at that point, that I had all of these like narratives and like voices and insecurities that just kind of kept coming up, that I felt like a lot of the girls didn't have. And women, female skaters, we go through a lot already, just like in that space. And so I know that it's a struggle, but like I had all these kind of past things that kept coming up. And trying to overcome those in competition, it felt like it was a journey. Let's just say that. Like it was like a mental barrier and something that I had to overcome. And like I remember with my partner, my wife, like very specifically talking about and actually a woman named Katie who was with Girls Riders Organization. We went to dinner one time, and I was like, you have really helped me understand that skateboarding is not about sponsorships. It is not about competition. And it's literally taken me all of these years to understand that. And once I really got that, I think the competitions became fun.
Of course, right.
Like it became fun to compete, and just like, because even with the guys,
it's like, it doesn't even matter if you win or not. You're always like, you're having a good time. If your friend wins, you're as happy and excited for them as you would. Exactly. And so it's just such a different story.
Totally, like exactly, like I agree 100%. Like what you just said, perfectly said. Like it just became fun. Like even when the guys were skating, like I wanted to root for them. When a girl would win, I would be excited and not like resentful. And I think that is a completely different way to look at skateboarding. And I think of all things, my biggest fear right now with women skateboarding like blowing up right now and just like getting super big is that resentment for a lot of people will start to come back.
Absolutely.
Because of
like
performance.
Like the people who would feel this resentment, are you saying like the people who didn't get the opportunities before?
No, but that's definitely maybe a thing. But the newer
kids, that kind of where if women's skateboarding is taken more seriously than
people
like
are going for
the competition.
Like I need to
like in places that isn't California.
I see.
100%, and I see it coming back already.
I do. I also see that happening, and not just like in skateboarding, but like in different types of skating, whether it's
roller
like
skating,
longboarding. I do
see
it with some people that they're amazing skaters, and I can see how they miss out in like so much of the experience of skating because they are so caught up with wanting to make sure they get that sponsor. It's difficult.
It's especially the young kids too. I skate with a lot of young kids. Like one of my friends just got, like 3 sponsors. I'm so excited for her, but previous to that, like last week, she was like, you know, man, like, what if I don't get the sponsorship and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, just skate to have fun. Just skate
Right.
to have fun. If you
it's
don't
like
worry about it.
It's like you're like, I'm assuming, you know, they're like younger. It's like you have your whole life, you know,
Right.
like it is okay. You should be right now focusing on just doing what you love and not so much about.
Well, it's like people, I feel like, and we're like all vulnerable to this, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to let the industry decide how we get to experience the sport.
Which it should be the opposite.
Right. It should be the opposite, which is
Yeah.
what you have done, right? You've reached that point that you were able to like come back and be like, okay, now this is my time to rewrite my story and turn skateboarding into what it had always been, which is an outlet, a place for me to like have fun and just exist.
Yeah, totally. And I think, I don't know why this popped into my head right now, but like coming back and doing these amazing events really helped a lot with that, like exposure. And with I just experienced the Skate Like a Girl Women in Trans retreat last year.
Right.
It like changed my life.
So amazing.
amazing.
That looked amazing.
It changed my life because exposure allowed me to rewrite my experience in transition skateboarding, but a lot of the I used to have a lot of like stories and whatever insecurities about like, oh, I'm not a street skater, so I'm like not cool or whatever. And I think a lot of transition skateboarders can admit to that. Like we're not like the cool crowd, right? But like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, anything, I'm like, you're the coolest.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah. You get on a board.
It's changing a little bit.
Yes.
It's changing. But anyway, like going, and I had a really big story about like the street culture, the women who really did a lot of like revolutionary videos like Villa Cola and Vanessa Torres and Lisa Whitaker, and I really looked up to them, but I was very like I was envious, and resentful when I was younger, because I was like, I don't know how to navigate that space or to like get into those crews or do whatever, skate with those people or whatever, even though I didn't skate street.
Right.
And I get to the camp and there's Vanessa Torres. Like I was like, oh shit. And like Samaria and Lisa Whitaker and you know, Kim and all these ladies. And so I don't know if I thought, I don't know. I can't remember if I knew that they were going to be there or not, but I really I even went up to Vanessa and I was like, hey, like, I just want to let you know, like, this has really helped me overcome a lot. And like, I used to be really scared to come up to you. And like, she's like, she's definitely a generation before me, but like, we're not that different in age. Right. And so I used to be like really terrified to go up to her or talk to her. And she just hugged me. And it was just like this moment. And it's like, those moments, like they're really rewriting the story for a lot of people. Not just myself, but for all of us. And to have that space, it's like we've never had that before.
I mean, even just like all of the things that Skate Like a Girl has been doing in the last years, and not just like last year, as in like couple of years, you know,
just in general.
It's
many
just,
years,
right. It's just been so, I feel like, fundamental to what we are seeing now with women skateboarding and being able to like create those spaces.
And I'm trying to remember the question or like how we got to talking about this, because I think that was just a random thought that popped into my mind about these spaces that were changing. I think we were talking about resentment and like the younger kids being really focused on sponsorships, and I think I'm scared that it has already started to come back.
It's just one of those things, like it's impossible to remove that, right, from existing, especially to when now with social media.
Big
so
thing.
Intense. It's just the idea
so
of
intense
how people get to like curate that image and what it means to be sponsored by
and you get
a
to
certain
hide
brand.
You get to hide everything that you don't want to show.
I laugh. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say just that, like, I think that at the end of the day, we can't remove it. It's always gonna exist. The best thing that can probably be done is just talking openly about it,
right? Have conversations
and just understanding. Also, just thinking about it as like professional sports. The reality is this is a problem that is encountered in a lot of professional sports. When it comes to I don't know, competing, and having your worth be dictated by
your
performance, and I think that that's part of why we try to talk about like these mental health things, right? This idea that whether you're a professional or someone who's just starting, you're being affected in so many ways because you're a human being and it affects us, and like you talked about, these formative experiences, right? Not just with skating, but you're, also, you talked about like your parents getting divorced, right. All these things that kind of build these narratives, right? And then we spend so much of our adulthood taking care of that inner child and kind of reality checking
to resolve those issues.
And kind of having that reality check of like
whole lifetime.
Literally, where you're like, I have to realize that this narrative does not serve me anymore, and I need to confront it with honesty based on what I know now, not what I thought I knew then.
Which is amazing, and that like you've been able to do that. Like there are so many people that are just stuck in it, and you were able to like stop for a second and reevaluate how like these narratives, right, that you had growing up, and reflect on that. And now the way that it seems like you live your life is not based on that narrative. And although yes, sometimes like it can pop in,
it creeps up.
You've found yourself in a position that like you can identify like oh, this is popping in, but that doesn't mean that it is reality, right? And you allow yourself to like just feel it out.
What's interesting too is that I'm thinking like, you talked about this kind of experience that you had when you were younger with kind of getting donations, things like that, this kind of support that was there, but you weren't quite ready to receive it. And it's really important to also think about that idea of like, you're doing better now because you've had a ton of support, but you've also chosen to accept that support, which is, that is your role at the end of the day, and that is something that you could have just as easily not done, like you did when you were younger. So that's like a huge thing because that was your choice at the end of the day. And you could have just as easily, when you received that support in New York, had the same choices from before and kind of reject it, but you chose differently, and that, that is all
that
you.
Means a
That's
lot
all you,
it has
which is
changed
amazing.
Everything for you.
Yeah, you guys are gonna make me cry over here today.
I'm trying.
Listen, I feel like a lot of people underestimate what it means to make those really hard choices. And I feel like identifying what you should do or need to do rather is it sometimes it's not hard, but doing it is a completely different story, right?
Yeah, it is. It's an everyday.
Right, that's the thing. It's like you wake up every day and you do your best. And sometimes trying your best means that like you didn't meet your expectations, but you have to remind yourself the next day is that like, I tried my best yesterday and I will continue to do it.
I had a horrible skate session yesterday. Horrible.
And it's okay. It's okay. The last time I skated, which was maybe like a week ago, the board killed me. Like I was like, it was in a mini ramp and it came back to me. Like, I don't know where it got so speedy. And it was like hammered me on the heel. And I was just,
oh no.
I was in so much pain that I couldn't walk the whole day. And I was just like,
oh no.
So then I switched to roller skates and then I fell on my knee.
Oh no.
So this is where we're at.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I feel
that
you.
understanding, right, of this flow where there's gonna be
Yeah.
bad days, there's gonna be good days. Understanding that you're always making those active choices to keep going, to believe in yourself,
Right.
to accept, to open yourself up to that support, to open yourself up to that vulnerability, right? Because part of why it's so hard to accept support is because we're afraid of being seen as less than, right?
Yeah.
But when you give yourself that chance and you realize, oh, I could fail in front of people and I will still have value to them,
I mean, and even
Yeah.
just as much as like not just to them, but like
To yourself.
I feel like so many people
Yourself.
are like, trying, because
Yeah.
if you don't try, you don't get to see yourself fail, right? But not trying, it's just it's worse, because at least you try and maybe something didn't work, but you can reassess and be like, this thing worked in this way, and maybe I can change it a little bit and see how this now works. But if you don't try at all, then how could you possibly grow as a person, as anything? It's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the drive, or the like, I don't know if this is a good thing, but the fear of like looking forward at my life and realizing I never tried was greater. The fear of that was greater. And I realized I don't want to be like one of those. I think I like wrote a post like many years ago about, if I had not chosen to go back, I would be this girl like outside of the skate park, like at the fence, like watching everybody else, and realizing I don't want to be that. Like I want to be inside.
I feel that so much, because I think a lot of the decisions that I make in my life, whenever I'm trying to like, figure out, is this the right thing? Is it not? Like, and in the sense of right thing, as in like, it's hard when society is telling you the complete opposite, right? And I think of myself as in like, damn, if someone were to tell me you have a week to live, and you look at your whole life, would you have regret not doing this? And it's like, of course I would have. Like, why, and it's just like, that's my biggest regret, in like my biggest fear is to regret not doing what I wanted to do my whole life, and then finally saying I'm going to do it. And it's not like there's ever like it's too late, but things change, right? It's different to skateboard when you are in your
40s or something,
right? Like, it's like, if you're 70 years old, like, honestly, I'm all for it. Like, get on that boat, I support you like 100%. But the reality is that it is more challenging, and that's if you make it to 70.
Yeah, we're not getting any younger, basically. Like, let's go now.
For all I know, maybe I'll make it to 50. Who knows?
We never know.
Right.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. I think like me and I don't want to get like too morbid here, but me and my partner talk about like the little like funny Grim Reaper like all the time. Like this little, like, my friend like draws these little Grim Reapers and they like crack me up. And that's kind of how I see like death sometimes. And it's like, okay, that it's gonna come one day. So when I look back on this, like, I think about it all the time. When I look back, I don't want to have regretted it, which is exactly what you're saying. Like, it's better to try.
Is I don't even feel like that's really morbid, right?
It's just reality.
Death happens,
It's the one thing that we know it's gonna happen for sure for all of us. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are,
or how rich or poor, how much you skated or didn't skate.
Right.
That's just it.
That's the moral of the story here.
We've gotten in a really good place in the convo.
We're all gonna die.
You might as well just make the
shred.
You might as well just send it. Just
send it. Send it 100%. Yeah, just drop in that vert ramp. You never know.
Drop in, go out there.
Go skate the vert ramp. That's what I'm
listen, I have plans.
We have some
next time I see you, if I'm not already going down, my teacher and supporter,
we're gonna do it.
Push me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
I'm working on it though.
Let's do it.
I got the kickflip, so we're there.
I saw it. Congratulations. That's so awesome.
It's
I'm
all
so
because of
excited. I'm
Julia.
also like, damn, bro, I need to land a kickflip. Like,
Listen, it's all because of Julia, because she put like some like amazing magic on my board when she landed it. And
yeah,
I was
that
like,
was amazing.
right. And then I landed it and I was like, yes, Julia.
It was like a magic moment, dude. It was like, yes.
It was.
First kickflip. So sick.
I'm like afraid to do it again now, like because I did it.
Me too.
Like I'm like, oh my god.
Yes.
What if I don't do it again?
What if I don't do it?
Yeah, but what if you make it? Yeah, but what if you don't try?
No, I
know. But I've been trying kickflips for like years.
We gotta think about that. We could die tomorrow.
Everyone's gonna die.
But the thing is,
I want to try that trick again.
I have died doing a kickflip, so that's why I'm scared.
So you got lucky and came
everything.
back.
I fucking hate it. What?
You died and came like and got lucky.
I came back to life. Yeah, it's so funny.
I guess we're not that lucky.
That's like the one trick where I like feel like if I do this, I'm just gonna die. Like I'm gonna die if I try kickflips.
You're like
I like really commit.
Air yeah, you're like on a bird and you're like,
no, it's the kickflip.
The kickflip, no. That you know, that's very humbling. I'll take that. You know, I'm like, wow, someone who gets air out here in vert ramps, like crushing it, and I'm like, I can do a kickflip.
Well, that's
no, you can do a kickflip.
That's why it gets so right. Like this whole idea of this comparison, right? It becomes so benign because it's just like we all have such vastly different journeys, you know. Like,
and in skateboarding, I've been someone who grew up playing all sorts of sports, right? And I must say, skateboarding is one of the sports that in my experience, is one of the hardest. And that I've also, it's so interesting how so many people have such different journeys, right? Like some people will be like, I don't know how to ollie, but I know how to kickflip. And I'm like,
yeah, it's funny.
All right. And then some people are like throwing themselves from vert ramps and they're like, I am afraid to like, I don't know, get on a curve or something.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Right, and it's interesting because you would think like, I think we in our heads are like, you're already getting over there, like you're fearless.
Well, we think of progress as so linear, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And skateboarding is something that really forces you. Yeah,
it's chaotic.
Front. Yeah, the idea that it's just progress is not linear. It is an absolute, like,
it's a
free for all.
Right? Yeah.
You know, like
it's just chaos, mass chaos. Yeah. Actually, I would describe it. It's an art form.
Yes, and we each one we paint our own little drawing on this canvas, and it just ends up being so different yet so amazing.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's for sure. I played a lot of sports too. Like I did a lot of like random sports as well, like pole vaulting, super random stuff. Like
oh my god, that's
like skateboarding is so different. It's so different. It's addicting. It's like it's art, it's fun, it's like a little bit masochistic. You're like, why do I do this? Like, so it's so crazy.
Wow. It's like for me, like what you were saying, right? Like the hardest part is not when you're on the board, it's like getting to it.
Yeah.
And like not letting your mind discourage you from committing, from trying.
Yeah, from trying. I think I wanted to go back really quick to something that you were saying about how like many people are stuck because, and like my journey or being able to kind of become aware of these, I don't know, this conversation in my head or rewriting the story.
Right.
Because I was stuck for a long time.
Right.
Like it wasn't like an overnight thing. I mean, it was like years and years and years.
Right. You know, it was an active decision. It wasn't like, the world just kind of magically allowed you to, like you actually put in the effort and the work, to do that.
And I would say that everybody is stuck at some point in their lives. Yeah. It just happens that some people
stay there.
Yeah, some people stay there longer. Yeah. Some people stay there forever. Some people are in their early years are like, I need to get out. Everybody has their own journey.
Yeah, totally. And like when you were talking about failure and like being able to fail in front of others. I think I'm reminded of this conversation because I just recently actually talked to an Olympic skateboarder who was I just want to like throw it out there for anybody who sees this or whatever, but that the Olympic skateboarders and people that are performing at a super high level feel the same things.
Right.
They are also stuck in whatever it is
they're human
that they're overcoming. It doesn't matter how good they are or whatever, how many sponsorships they have. Sometimes the sponsorships actually like are a hindrance, right? Like
absolutely.
They, you know, they have expectations that they have to fulfill because they have all these sponsorships and stuff.
Right. And at that point they're
overwhelmed like, and
what is it called? Like their source of money, I guess.
Yeah, their livelihood
comes down to that, right?
Yeah,
like, there really is no plan B.
Yeah, there's no plan B. I mean, there always is a plan B, but in their mind at the moment, there is no plan B. And I think like coming back to this feeling of like self-worth and performance and failure is like I was having this conversation, and you know, they are a really like successful skateboarder, been to the X Games, done the Olympics, and they were just talking about like I just want to be able to go to a contest and just like chill, like just have fun. And I remember like I had just like really personally discovered this for myself, like really declared it, that like my self-worth is not based on my performance.
Right.
And I had mentioned that, and they were just like, that's so true. Like I really need to like keep that with me, because especially for those kind of skateboarders, like their self-worth is attached to their performance in their mind, because like it's, you know, it's their whole livelihood or whatever.
And imagine getting injured.
Yeah, I imagine getting injured. And I think like the whole that shouldn't be how it is, though. That shouldn't be the way that it is. Like their self-worth is not attached to their performance. They offer so much besides just, you know, if they got that air or if they won that contest that day. Or sometimes contests are like BS anyway. Like you have to perform something perfectly for 30 seconds, and that's like your entire, it's like the entirety of your career
for like years. It's just like right there, which is
it's right there.
You have a bad day and you're like an amazing skater.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. But yeah, like just talking about that, like it's crazy because, you know, even these like Olympic skateboarders, they feel the same way. They feel stuck. They have to overcome their own things, and you know, really start to discover and like build their self-worth that's not based on performance. And I think that as skateboarding grows, I feel like that's something that, to be honest, like I want to talk about more, because I can see it already happening in a lot of the younger groms right now, and like the teenagers who are like, you know, the Olympic hopefuls who are probably going to make it. And like, I can already see it happening to them. It's like the insecurities are eating away. And I think it happens even more for girls. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it's just, there's so many expectations. You're at this period of time when you're like, you know, in middle school, high school, which is like you start to realize, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's also like, it's thinking about this idea, right? It's like, you already have all this pressure as like a professional athlete. Then you're also having pressure as a woman in society.
Right. You know? Like you don't have to play a sport to
feel pressure as a woman.
And not just as a woman, right? Like as someone who identifies with the LGBTQ community, there are also, you know, on top of that, if there are just so many other variables. But what's interesting is like, I don't know if you've seen this documentary. I haven't gotten to, but I've read about like some of it, and like the Candy Jacobs documentary, it's like it talks about her kind of journey, and there are parts that she like, they talk about like mental health, and they were going through like an injury, and how like like what you were just saying, right? Like so much of their self-worth was put on like who they are as a skateboarder, and what happens when you just have to take a break for your own wellness.
We were talking with, we have a friend in Brussels that we were talking with for a while, that she actually, there was a skater there who was, you know, kind of big in their community, and he was really, really, you know, really good. And he was, you know, really like trying to get professional. He got injured so badly that he could never skate again, and he killed himself.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
so,
Like
you
it's
know,
so
these things that you have to
intense.
think about, where it's like, skating is amazing and I love it.
Yeah.
But if that's your primary, like if that's your job, you have to have other hobbies and other things that your identity is built around.
Right.
Because, well, I
And your
think
worth.
anything can happen. Yeah, your worth,
Yeah.
because anything can happen, you know, like you never know when something falls through. You never know when something can fall through, you know? So, right, thinking about those things of like, skating is amazing, yes, but are you building relationships, you know, in around life? Do you have good friends? Do you have a good support system? You know, when you talk about like your partner, you know, like these things that are so important to you, right, outside, and you know, all these, and you know, even when you talked about like, you know, that you really want to work, that you were working with coffee, and you know, like the things you're doing now with sustainability, you know, all
and
these
then
things,
you were like teaching instead of like actively
all these things,
skating.
right, like allow
I had to mentally. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta get out.
Where it allows you to kind of open up those doors and kind of maybe put a little bit less pressure. And I think that's also really important, right? Is thinking about, especially like these young kids, right? These are like professional athletes as kids.
Yeah.
They need to have hobbies, you know, they need to have
a childhood.
they need to have a childhood. You know, like those things are really important because your body can always break.
Yeah.
And your
I think,
mind.
And your mind can
yeah, and your mind 100%. I think community is probably the biggest thing that I would add. Like that's a part of that community. And I feel like also when you get injured, sometimes you feel like you lose that skateboarding community, but I think we have to remember that that's like totally not true, that there are other ways that you can like come back into that community. Like I have a number of friends who are hurt and injured, and they just like come and hang out. They just hang out at the skate park. Like it's cool. Like I want to see them, you know, and like they just hang, take videos, just chat, like whatever, it doesn't even matter. Like and I think it's we have to remember like community is a really big aspect of that. And if you're just doing it to get the sponsorships and to do the thing and to like take the steps, then it's doing it the wrong way.
You're losing all that opportunity to kind of have these really, really strong relationships that go past the skateboarding, you know, like, and that's, I mean,
I think, wow, that's a big one. Like, I think it just hit me because when I was younger, those relationships that I had, like those sponsorship relationships or whatever, I didn't know them beyond that. Right. And it just like brings into mind oh, my thought just like fluttered away. I hate it when that happens. No, I was just gonna say like it just community is a super big thing. Like I'm thinking like back to that time, right, when like I didn't know the sponsorships beyond that, and so I didn't ever build those relationships. And it was like once that was gone, then who am I?
Like then you realize that. I feel like that's the moment that you just turn around and you're like, oh my God.
It's like that idea, right, of like when so much is based on like, let's say like your skills or your performance or your popularity, right? It comes down to that thing of like, you realize everybody loves you, but nobody likes you. You know?
That's interesting.
And I think that's like a
and it's also like you haven't even allowed yourself to like yourself because you don't even know yourself. All you know is that you want to get a sponsor.
Yes, that's what it was. That's exactly my thought came back when you said that, because this is the same thing you just said. Like it was receiving that support. I was never open to it. I never had the relationships beyond the skateboarding. Right. So like, to me, it was just about the skateboarding, and I was missing the whole point of it, which was the relationships, and to receive that support. And I think you guys have mentioned this a little earlier, and when you said receive, the reason why it made me like so emotional was because like now, like that's my like goal right now, to like receive it, because I never allowed myself. I mean, like I'm 31, for like 20 years, I've never allowed myself to really receive it. Even in the last few years, like the last few years have been like amazing and overwhelming and like fun and all this stuff. But again, like, like we were talking about, those things still creep in, those insecurities still creep in. And so I kind of like shut it off. Like I don't receive it, because it's almost too overwhelming.
Yeah. And that happens, I think, for so many people in so many different ways, you know. And like,
and just receiving relationships and love.
And that's the thing, is people underestimate how much of a choice that is, you know. Like they think, well, receiving is just a passive thing. It is not. It is so active. It is such a like an action, you know. It's really something that you have to work towards, learn how to do, especially if you've had experiences in the past where maybe you've tried to receive it and it didn't work, or you know, you were down, you know. Like there's so much that, and even thinking back, right, all of these formative experiences in our childhood, being a child of divorce, of course, that affects you in terms of how you think about trust and relationships. And
that was a big one.
You know, that's what I'm saying. It's like all these little things that kind of block people from receiving love or kindness or support, that we're not even really taking into account, like where it's all coming from.
I think too, something that Ramina and I talk about a lot is like this idea of, once you take the decision to open yourself up and kind of like taking in those definitions of like, this is what love looks like for me, this is what support looks like for me, and all the different feelings and aspects of life, right? Then you also have to then accept that in the past, things that you consider love, things that you consider support, weren't actually that. And so in a way, you kind of have to have a moment of grief, in that like maybe in the past you thought of a person that like, wow, I really thought that they were supportive, or like they were showing me love, but now I realized that there's nothing loving or supportive or encouraging about that behavior. And of course it's hard, right? Because your whole understanding of that person changes. And then then it prompts you to also make another choice of whether you want to let those people go, whether you want to maybe have a conversation with them. Is it worth having a conversation with them? Is it even possible?
All this reconciliation with your past, once you've decided to move forward differently, right? You know, and it's exactly what you're saying, right? It's not just about changing your perspective, it's about rewriting your past too. You know, like this,
or sometimes even like the past was not even what you thought it was. Literally, with rereading that, I rewrote it, which is crazy, because it didn't even happen. It didn't even happen that way.
Well, you know, like I'm so grateful that we met in Venice, and that like you allowed us to be part of your journey in this way, and that we were able to skate again like the day after or something that we met.
I was able to skate the next day.
It was so awesome, because I just, you know, I think of like, wow, like we could have just easily never met.
Or that's true. We could have just easily met, right, and not made the choices to kind of push forward with this.
Have the convo.
Like make the choice to initiate any of this. Like, and it's just so exciting that it happened the way that it has happened, and that we get to like talk to you and ask for advice, and you know, like reach out to you. It's just like, honestly, it's just so exciting for us. It means a lot.
I mean, it means a lot to me too. I mean, like we've been talking about receiving, and I think the word that comes to mind is like joy. right? Like receiving joy and allowing yourself to feel joy and excitement and fun. And like this for me right now is like allowing myself to do that. It's like opening up, sharing these memories, but then also like getting to talk to you guys and like to see what your guys' experiences are in skateboarding, because everybody's experience is different.
Right.
And like one reconciling old past things and rewriting the story and rewriting the industry, but also like just enjoying and having joy like in the moment and like enjoying skateboarding for what it is. Has been really, really cool. So
okay,
thank you guys.
Wait, one last thing.
Yes.
I think I would love to hear really quickly about Shred Cycle and what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we can get a little bit of your.
Yeah, I want to know, this awesome project.
Yeah. So yeah, Shred Cycle it's a company, and we are working to make sustainability easy and accessible for skateboarders and action sports enthusiasts by recycling old skateboarding wheels and polyurethane waste. And we're working to make these back into useful outdoor products like surfboard roof rack pads and cushions. But really, I started this, it was a project that started out of a grad school class for master's in business. And really like, since I mentioned I grew up in San Diego. I grew up in skateboarding. That's funny. I grew up in San Diego, and like the environment and nature and our natural places were always like really meaningful to me. And I mentioned that I grew up at this skate park on this vert ramp, and this vert ramp really like overlooks the ocean. Wow. And I remember like when one day I was like standing there and realizing, like just breathing in the air and like this ocean breeze, and realizing we really need to protect our beautiful places that like allow us to do the things that we love. And that's so true even for snowboarding and surfing, and even skateboarding. But unfortunately, all of the equipment that we use is like pretty unsustainable, and especially the skate wheels. So and the other piece is there's also this huge community of action sports enthusiasts who want, a better solution, more sustainable solutions for their equipment. So I decided to found Shred Cycle and work to recycle skateboarding wheels and polyurethane waste in the action sports industry.
So and really, do people just donate things to you?
Yeah. So basically what we're doing is we operate an online service where skateboarders all over the country can return their wheels. So it's a pay what you want service. You can go onto the website and return your old skateboarding or roller skating wheels. And we also do collections like in shops. So if anybody has shops or wants to do a collection, they can contact us or DM us and do like a larger collection. And we're working to shred down those wheels and turn them into like filler for these surfboard roof rack pads. But we're also working on other ways to have a larger impact, because ultimately the goal and the mission of Shred Cycle is to like inspire people to realize that we can have a sustainable action sports industry, that we can create a circular action sports industry. So we want to have that bigger impact, and we're looking at other ways of recycling polyurethane waste throughout the action sports industry, which I'm really excited about. But for skaters themselves, they can always return their old wheels via our website, or they can reach out if they want to do like a larger collection.
Awesome. So, well, yeah. I know I have a set of wheels. So I will definitely do that.
For sure. Yeah. Check out the website, or you guys also know the Instagram Shred Cycle.
Yes.
Shred_cycle. So it's been really, really cool to do that. It's happened over the past year. I was like just a project, and I didn't think it would like turn into anything. And we put up a video, or I put up this silly little video, and it went viral. And an amazing reaction from the action sports from like skateboarding community. It was really, really awesome to see like that people really want this, and skaters have wanted this for a long time. It's just the companies are moving too slow.
Yeah.
They're moving too slow.
Again, that idea, right, where and it all comes full circle at the end. The industry isn't doing what we need.
The grassroots.
Yeah, the people in the community are doing what we need. And at the end of the day, the industry's not gonna lead. We're gonna lead, and the industry's gonna have to follow us.
Which is
we're gonna make it.
We get
we're gonna make
it. I would rather actually be it like this, in that like we get to decide how it moves forward, as opposed to if it was the other way, that they get to say and we don't have an option, right? So I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah,
definitely. And like with the new release of like their skateboards and everything like that, it's just been really cool. Like that's another example. Like sustainability is one piece, but you know, the LGBT trans community inclusion, like that's a whole nother piece. And you know, I feel grateful to be part of that community. Like I don't really talk about it that much, because I don't know, me and my wife were just like, we were just chilling. Like we don't even really think about it that much. But you know, we're really privileged to live in a place, like to live in California, where it's a different situation for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, right now Florida is going through the Don't Say Gay bill and everything, and you know, it's rough to think about the fact that in the United States, it's so big. Each state has such different experiences.
Yeah.
You know, and even like in Florida, right? It's like, I feel very lucky to be in an area where I feel like I'm okay, but as a whole, the state is not.
Yeah.
Right. There, every state, I'm assuming, has its places that you're like, ooh, I shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. But like in all, I think the underground is really changing it's shifting the culture of skateboarding right now. And I think that's an exciting thing. It's an exciting thing. And I hope to see more of that. And you know, I hope to see people just like do it because they love it. And just have fun and like keep their dreams alive, because like you can still land an air at 30 something years old.
Like,
dude.
you don't need a sponsorship to land the trick. You just gotta put the skate and practice, and you know, like you said, you can be in your 30s and your 40s and still be shredding
with pads. But yes.
Hear yourself.
No, I mean, I guess like you don't need the pads, but
no, you do, but you do.
One body,
at least a helmet. I mean, I had to learn that the hard way, but I've been converted. I'm like, no, I don't know what I was doing before.
Protection.
Dude, I wear knee pads every time. What did you say?
I tell myself that I don't know how I still have knees, given that in the past I just was like, no, it's fine.
That's like, why no. I can't skate street anymore, because I like blew out my knees. So like that's why I don't like. I could try, but I
like the kickflip will kill me.
Yeah, like for sure. Like I can feel my knee in there every time. It's like so scary. Understand
what's happening inside this body.
Yeah, so that's why I wear knee pads every time. Honestly, like, I can't even skate without them almost.
If you want to skate
for a long time,
for the longest that you want,
longevity.
You have to. There's no way. And so I had to, like I said, I had to learn that the hard way. You know, when we were traveling, I was getting hurt,
constantly injured.
Yeah.
She was,
and when you're traveling too, it's hard to like. I was like in Texas. I didn't even have I was wearing the wrong shoes. I like didn't have pads. I was like not even skating my board. You know, it's like all these things. You end up getting more hurt doing that.
Well, because then traveling, you know, everything costs money, and the more you have, the more you have to pay. And I didn't even take a helmet or anything, and I was just lucky that a friend of mine that we made in Brussels, she was like, "You need a helmet. Here you go. Happy birthday."
Yeah, for sure. You should just wear it on the plane.
That's honestly, what we did a lot of the time. Wear it, and then
that's the hat.
It was just getting ridiculous because we were like, no, I just can't let it go. And I still wear the helmet. It's the helmet that I actually wear all the time now because it actually fits me. The one that it was mine, it did not fit me. It was too big. I guess I have a small face. I have a small face, a small head.
No, yeah, for sure. Traveling.
The protection.
Yeah. Anyway. Thank you guys so much, like, for opening this space. I really appreciate it. Like, it's just been really cool to talk about this, and it's stuff that I really want to talk about more with the skate community, and it's just been amazing to just flow and talk.
You know, thank you so much for giving us your time,
sharing your story, for, you know, opening yourself up, you know, like, I think that's really brave, you know. A lot of people wouldn't do it, and you know, we really appreciate it, you know. And I'm sure other people will too, you know, when they see this kind of thing and they feel so seen and so understood, you know. I think that's really important, you know.
And honestly, we look forward to skating with you again, and even if it's not skating, hanging out, you're always welcome out here in Florida.
Thank you.
Hey, in South Florida,
and Central.
I gotta come out there.
For all you know, you already have 2 homes in Florida.
Oh, that's so nice. So, you know, yeah, we got to make it out there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you guys.
We love your kitty. Tell the kitty,
your kitty we love her.
Yeah, we say goodbye. Thank you for the patience. Thank you for letting us borrow. They're human.
She's sleeping. She's just chilling right now.
She's like, I don't care.
She's like, I'm out. No, but thank you guys so much. I can't wait to skate with you. Definitely we'll try to make it out to Florida in the next like year or so, maybe less than that. We'll see.